All week long here on Denver 7, we have been taking a closer look at the statewide ballot initiatives that you're going to be voting on in November. Now, Amendment B asks voters if they'd like to repeal the Gallagher Amendment, which deals with property taxes. Last night, we presented the voices of some supporters and opponents, but this Gallagher Amendment affects a lot of different people and businesses. So in this 360 follow-up, we're presenting a few more voices. It's perhaps one of the most complicated issues appearing on your ballot in November. Amendment B asks voters to repeal the Gallagher Amendment. A quick refresher, the Gallagher Amendment splits property taxes in the state so that homeowners make up 45% of the burden, while businesses and commercial owners make up the other 55%. To keep that balance, the assessment rates on homes have dropped over the years to 7.15% today, and they're set to dip again to about 5.88%. In this Denver 7 360 follow-up, we look at the potential side effects. You'll hear from a fire district, a school association, and a group of homeowners.
Fire districts are different than municipal districts.
For fire districts in Colorado,
we mostly work off of property taxes.
It's been a rough year. Several major wildfires across the state have put a dire strain on resources. And they say the Gallagher Amendment isn't helping.
We've had to cut budgets, we've had to cut people, we've had to cut equipment. We run on fairly razor-thin budgets, and we provide the services that we can. And so when we say things are bad, they're past bad.
West Metro Fire Chief Don Lombardi says they don't get help from the state. Instead, they rely on voters to pass mill levies, which increase taxes on a local level. But
tax initiatives, as you know, are not so popular in the state of Colorado.
Elections are also expensive, and every time the residential assessment rate goes down,
it erodes what the voters have approved from a mill levy perspective.
So some fire districts like West Metro have chosen to de-Gallagherize on a local level. About 20 more are considering doing the same, meaning voters might see 2 or more Gallagher Amendment repeals on the same ballot this November on a local and state level. For Chief Lombardi, the bottom line is,
this is going to stabilize revenues and allows us then to plan for the future.
The law also affects schools.
Gallagher has created a system where local share of school funding has declined dramatically.
When local property taxes go down with a dip in the residential assessment rates, the state backfills that loss in education funding. Schools can also ask for mill levies.
Voters are being asked constantly to supplement where there's been these shortfalls.
In the 1990s, local property taxes were the main source for school funding. These days, the state makes up 63%.
Really, the state doesn't have the resources to fully fund schools. There's really a state shortfall right now, currently over $1 billion in the current school year.
And with the assessment rate set to dip yet again, the Colorado Association of School Boards is worried.
This is going to do harm. It's an antiquated policy. It's creating huge gaps and inequities amongst communities across the state, and that ultimately is impacting our kids and our school's future.
So it's asking for a yes vote. While supporters of Amendment B say it will freeze the residential assessment rates, critics say this repeal is a raw deal for homeowners.
If this Amendment B passes and Gallagher goes away, that it will cost the residential homeowners, property owners of this state, $203.7 million in the first year alone.
Over a 5-year period, they project that number to be as much as $1 billion. Here's why.
Without Gallagher, residential values are going up so much that people's taxes will be going up.
So even if the assessment rates stay the same, the value increases, and they say so will property taxes.
Residential taxes in Colorado could be twice as much as they would have been otherwise.
And right now, when so many are struggling, including 11,000 homeowners in Jeffco that were delinquent on their taxes in July,
this could put people out of their homes. It takes a meat axe to affordable housing measures.
This group of homeowners and former lawmakers say they know there are issues with it that hurt fire districts and schools.
There are ways to tweak Gallagher to make it better, certainly.
Going after the only tax break that residential property owners have in this state is not the way to do this.
So they want a no vote. The Gallagher Amendment affects just about everyone in one way or another. For nearly 40 years, it's been the law of the land, but it will be up to voters to decide if they're ready to change the way property taxes are divided in the state. For a closer look at the arguments for and against Amendment B, otherwise known as the Gallagher Amendment repeal, go to our website, thedenverchannel.com, and click on the Election tab. I'm Megan Lopez.